Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Desawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabo.
And I am Martin Esiedudati. Let's look at the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
National Petroleum Authority expresses concern over tanker drivers leaving petroleum haulage sector for illegal mining due to low salaries.
Meanwhile, a coalition of civil society organizations petitioned the National Petroleum Authority to take urgent regulatory action to halt the supply of fuel for illegal mining operations.
Also in the bulletin, Foreign Minister engages South African counterpart over viral videos showing attacks on foreigners, including Ghanaians.
Coming up in business news, analysts challenges IMF's percent debt to GDP forecast, projecting Ghana's debt to remain below 50% in 2026.
On the foreign front, Iran's top negotiator says it is not possible to reopen the Strait of Hormuz due to blatant violations of the US-Iran ceasefire.
We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
We're starting from this recurring issue which has to do with xenophobic attacks, and Ghana's Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa says he has spoken directly with his South African counterpart over videos circulating on social media showing foreign nationals, including Ghanaians, being subjected to violent attacks in South Africa. According to Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwa, diplomatic efforts are underway to ensure the safety of Ghanaians in South Africa. Deborah Abamensa has more in this story.
What you have done is wrong.
How many children do you have here?
We can come to Ghana and do what you're doing.
Passport.
Eh? Now you are carrying a bucket. It's 11 a.m. You were supposed to be fighting the government of Ghana there to ensure that they are getting things right.
No, there's no fight in Ghana. You must fight what they did.
Where's your papers?
And that was a Ghanaian victim in video circulating on social media showing foreign nationals being subjected to what right groups are calling xenophobic attacks in South Africa. The images have triggered a swift diplomatic response from Ghana. Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister says he personally called his South African counterpart, Ronald Lamola, this morning over the videos. In a statement, the minister confirmed that South Africa's foreign minister expressed empathy with the victims and promised a full-scale investigation. South Africa is also expected to hold a briefing with African ambassadors. Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa added the Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa, Benjamin Kwashi, has located the main victim seen in the viral video and that consular assistance is being provided. He says the victim is doing well. The foreign minister also confirmed that no Ghanaian life has been lost and urged the public to remain calm. But some experts say diplomacy may not be enough. Professor Daniel Draman Kipo Sunyezi of the Legon Center for International Affairs says the problem is one South Africa must address from within, calling on authorities there to improve internal security.
The problem is with South Africa. And the citizens have refused to admit that there are internal problems, but they are putting the problems on migrants, which I think it is absolutely wrong. Migrants may have their own challenges, but they are not the main cause of the hardship that we are having. The issue should be looked within South Africa.
Right.
I think there are other things that are not right, and I will think that South African authority need to take it upon themselves.
Security consultant Dr. Victor Doke is urging Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister to take the matter further, escalating it to the African Union level, warning that these attacks are unlikely to end soon.
I think the first stage is where we have our foreign minister engaging with BS
and then going overboard with other foreign ministers in them. Now, I should expect that our foreign minister should escalate this to the African Union, very much so, and where even the presidents would have to come in, because I don't see this, ending soon. We've talked about it happening before, prior to this very incident. It has happened before, and we don't know if it's going to happen next year.
This is not the first time Ghana or Africa has been here. South Africa has seen repeated waves of violence targeting foreign nationals since the end of apartheid. In 2008, more than 60 people were killed. In 2015, there was another nationwide outbreak. In 2019, riots in Johannesburg left at least 7 dead. The targets have consistently been African migrants from Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Somalia, Mozambique, and now Ghana. Analysts point to South Africa's unemployment rate, one of the highest in the world at around 32%, alongside deep poverty and competition for scarce resources as the underlying drivers. Groups like Operation Dudula have in recent years intensified pressure on foreign nationals, including blocking migrants from accessing hospitals and schools. The African Union, which champions the free movement of people across the continent, has faced repeated calls to take a stronger stance against anti-migrant violence within member states. For now, Ghana's government says it is monitoring the situation closely and remains in contact with its mission in South Africa.
In more news tonight, the National Petroleum Authority says it is concerned about the rising number of tanker drivers and their mates leaving the job for illegal mining due to low salaries in the petroleum haulage sector. NPA Chief Executive Officer Eduji Tameklo, however, indicated persons who siphon fuel will be arrested and prosecuted once the police identify them after a review of footage from accident scenes. Christian Yale reports.
Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Godwin Eduji Tameklo, indicated that several tanker drivers and their mates abandoned their job for galamsey after delivering fuel to mining communities. But he says there is a tanker driver remuneration framework to be implemented to address the salary concerns.
When they come there and they go to the mining communities to discharge petroleum products to the mine, he loses 1 mate. Because according to the mates, Oyam and Yana is more profitable than being a driver's mate. We are coming out with tanker drivers remuneration framework, whereupon we would ensure standardized payment by way of salary. And we strongly believe that if you pay your drivers well, will minimize the incidence of the accident as well.
Linking the salary concerns to tanker accident, he reviewed ongoing efforts to identify residents who siphon fuel for arrest and prosecution.
When you see a tanker accident, please don't go near it. We have also decided that all the accidents, we are picking the video recordings and giving it to the Ghana police to identify the known faces for arrest and prosecution. Because we've seen that in particular communities from Nsawam to Kumasi, anytime it happens within that stretch, there are some gangs who do those operations.
The NPA will soon table before Parliament a bill to amend its 2-decades-old act, and part of the reforms will be to merge the Unified Petroleum Price Fund and the Primary Distribution Margin into a single fund.
Then the boss margin, among others, will go into what is now known as the Infrastructure Fund.
But let me ask that CEO that as soon as the draft is finished, this committee would like to have a first-hand view. We want to do a draft preview if you want to move fast, so that when it's ready, we can do even certificate images.
All this came up when the Energy Committee paid a working visit to the National Petroleum Authority after similar ones to other power sector agencies to ensure that Ghana is ready for external shocks. Christian Yale, TV3 News.
Meanwhile, a coalition of civil society organizations has petitioned the National Petroleum Authority to take urgent regulatory action to halt the supply of fuel to illegal mining operations. The group is warning that continued access to diesel is sustaining environmental destruction across the country. In a formal petition dated April 18, the Coalition Against Galamsey in Ghana called on the authority to take immediate and decisive regulatory action to support government's fight against illegal mining, also known as galamsey. The group argued that while efforts to restrict importation of excavators are commendable, illegal mining activities continue largely because operators still have access to fuel. According to the petition, cutting off fuel supply would significantly disrupt illegal mining operations. If we are to save our water bodies, forests, and the health of our people from this ecocide, we must cut the supply lines, the group stressed. The coalition further alleged complicity within the fuel distribution chain, pointed to what it describes as an anomalous density of fuel stations in known galamsey spots. Let's speak to Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe. He is the convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey. Thank you so much for your time. What specific action do you expect from the National Petroleum Authority to take immediately to cut off fuel to illegal mining operations?
Oh, thank you very much. Well, as we know, the NPA is the regulatory body for the downstream. And so already if you look at the record of the NPA, they've demonstrated a capacity to act against fuel smuggling, the issues around adulteration of fuel, the way they are able to track the fuel from the loading point all the way up to where it's supplied. And, they've done that in the past before. So we believe that the NPA has enough data, and if they pull all the data together, you will be able to see where the anomalies are, areas where the vehicle density, the fuel stations are so low, but there are very few vehicles there, but you're selling a lot of diesel, to others in other tanks. So the FTA would be able to really crack the whip and be able to police this thing well and be able to ensure that fuel stations know who their customers are, and even it means, giving some permits to the legal small-scale miners so that they are able to buy the fuel for the operations. They should be able to do that. And again, they would have to work together with other regulatory bodies and other security officers. After all, these fuel, when they buy them, they don't fly them in the sky. They go over our road. So definitely at the police barriers, questions can be asked, to find out where these fuel are going to. So, and again, if you take the disposition of the CEO for the MP, who himself has been vociferous against the issues of illegal mining, I am very confident that if all the actors act, including you, the media, you do your role by holding these regulators to account. And I'm hoping beyond speaking to me, you will be speaking to, and I had him already on your airwaves, the CEO for the Minerals Commission, and ask him what it is that they're going to do. How are they going to support His Excellency's effort of fighting the scourge of galamsey?
Now, licensed small-scale miners also need fuel. So how will cutting off the fuel supply directly impact illegal mining activities on the ground when others also depend on this?
Oh, definitely. Again, so, every licensed small-scale miner, has permits, so it will be very easy for a collaboration between the NPA and the sister regulatory body, the Minerals Commission, who would give operating permits to these legal small-scale miners, so that they are giving dispensation to be able to buy fuel. And that can easily be done, and that can easily be tracked as well, so that they do not become then the source of buying and diverting to other people. And again, if you are a legal small-scale miner, your concession is really very defined. So if the assemblies were supposed to collaborate with the MINCOM and then also with the police, they will then be able to determine where, if you bought fuel from this particular fuel station and you're taking it to your concession, where it ought to be. And so if there's a will to really be able to deal with it, this again is one of the novel things that we can do. TV3 has been in this battle of fighting illegal mining since 2017. We've been doing it in a particular way. We cannot continue doing that way. This is another way that if we cut the supply of fuel to all of these illegal miners, their equipment will grind to a halt.
Thank you so much for your time. And I've been speaking to the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Engineer Kenneth Eshibe.
You're staying on, still on the subject of illegal mining, but this time around, we're looking at it from a purely religious perspective. And chairman of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Eric Nyamiche, has disclosed that rampant illegal mining activities has impacted religious practices of the Church of Pentecost. Delivering the State of the Church address at the 48th General Conference of the Church, Apostle Eric Nyamiche noted that pollution of water bodies is affecting traditional baptism rites in some communities.
Degradation and galamsey menace. The extensive pollution of water bodies due to illegal mining has hampered traditional water baptism in some mining communities, necessitating a shift to synthetic rubber pools in several districts to carry out the ordinance. Retention of souls. While we give glory to God for the multiple of souls won, a critical challenge.
Away from illegal mining, the National Identification Authority is set to roll out a new phase of the Ghana card registration exercise targeting children between the ages of 6 and 14. The initiative forms part of efforts to expand the national database and ensure early inclusion of young citizens into the identification system.
The National Identification Authority is expanding Ghana card registration to include children between the ages of 6 and 14 as part of efforts to strengthen the country's national identification system. Ahead of a nationwide rollout, the authority is beginning the process with selected institutions in what is expected to serve as a pilot phase of the exercise. Officials say the institutional registration will help streamline operations, address potential challenges, and enhance efficiency before extending the exercise to the general public.
The purpose for this registration is to prepare our systems for the upcoming mass registration exercise, which we are about to do for children between the ages of 6 to 14 registration. When it's time for the mass registration, we urge parents to come up with their kids and come and register with us.
One parent who took part in the registration described the exercise as smooth and efficient.
The process was seamless, it was smooth. The officials too, they were very fast. They wrote everything fast, and then they'll make you check to make sure everything is correct before you move on. If there's any mistake, you can correct it there.
Let's go to the court now. And Godfred Yeboah Dame, counsel for former National Food Buffer Stock CEO Hanan Abdul Wahab, has challenged the authority of the Assistant Staff Officer of the Economic and Organized Crime Office representing prosecution in the case against his client. Citing legislation governing the representation of prosecution in court, Godfred Dame argued that without authorization from the Attorney General, the official should not be joining the prosecutors in the former National Buffer Stock Company CEO's case. Lord Eduasare reports.
Hanan Abdul Wahab and his wife, Faiza Saidu Wuni, have been charged with stealing, defrauding by false pretenses, money laundering, and international dissipation of public funds. They have pleaded not guilty and have been granted bail. During proceedings on Wednesday, April 22, the prosecution led by Principal State Attorney A.C. Dentar Yanka introduced an Assistant Staff Officer of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, Rabia Abdullahi. However, defense lawyers led by Godfred Yeboah Dame objected to the presence of the Yoko official in court. Godfred Yeboah Dame argued that under the Law Officers Act 1974 and the Legal Services Act 1993, persons who are not from the Attorney General's office must be authorized by the Attorney General to prosecute cases. However, The principal state attorney explained to the court that an executive instrument had already been issued by the Attorney General to allow the Iyoko official to join in the prosecution of the case. After hearing submissions from both counsel, the presiding judge, Francis Achiponga, deferred his ruling and directed the prosecution to present the executive instrument from the Attorney General at the next adjourned date. Dame also informed the court that some officials from Iyoko allegedly invaded the home of the former National Food Buffer Stock Company CEO and defaced the walls with graffiti on April 8. He said he was seeking orders against the investigative body. When asked about the development, AC Dentar Yanka stated that she was unaware of the allegations made by the defense counsel. The court then summoned a staff officer from Iyoko to provide details regarding the matter. Julius Nudanu indicated that he had been informed that the surveillance and asset recovery unit of Iyoko carried out the operation but was unaware of the precise details. Counsel for the second accused, the wife of the former NAFO CEO, Augustine Obo, also prayed the court to order Iyoko to release the seized phones and the laptop belonging to the couple. He explained that although the prosecution did not include the items in its disclosures, they had not been returned after being seized. The court subsequently ordered an Iyoko official to appear before it to explain the continued detention of the accused person's items. The case has been adjourned to April 29 for continuation. Lodi Dwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
And away from the court, supporters of the opposition New Patriotic Party have taken to the streets of Sunyani calling for justice over what they describe as intimidation and politically motivated arrest. A report by Claude Kumiebisa.
The NDP supporters walked through the principal street of Sunyani amidst chanting, holding placards and banners demanding justice. Many expressed their outrage over their recent arrests, saying they will resist any intimidation. Deputy Minority Whip and Member of Parliament for Wejagbawi, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, joined the demonstrators. He amplified concerns over the perceived erosion of political freedoms.
Somebody voices out and you want to intimidate the person. You are weaponizing the police, you are weaponizing the judiciary, you are weaponizing almost all state institutions. Today you are here, they will say Iyoko has picked you just because you may have gone to say something that you have basis for saying it. They will ask, oh, come and report to the police headquarters because of somebody calling from Jubilee House. What is happening?
Communications officer for Sunyani East, Abubakar Yakubu, popularly called Baba Amando, a victim of a recent arrest, voiced his sentiments.
This is just the beginning. I am in the trial. I am unfazed. I will not be undermined. I will not be intimidated.
The group later presented their petition to the Bono Regional Coordinating Council.
Power is transient, and therefore they should use their power wisely. They should use it reasonably. They should stop abusing. They should stop going after us unnecessarily. They should stop arresting us without any due cause.
Receiving the petition, Deputy Director of the RCC, Priska Adane, assured the petitioners that their petition would be duly submitted.
Staying in politics this time around to the camp of the NDC, and its national chairman, that is Johnson Asiedu Nketia, has accused former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia of failing to improve the economic situation for Ghanaians whilst the New Patriotic Party was in power. He says that the former Vice President wasted 8 years chasing a runaway dollar that the current administration under John Mahama has firmly locked down in just 6 months. Ibrahim Wangara reports.
Addressing chiefs and party supporters at Drapa as part of his thank you tour of the Upper West region, National Chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, said the previous MPP administration failed to stabilize the city. He added that former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who headed the economic management team, was unable to achieve currency stability. He contrasted this with what he described as a swift intervention by the current NDC government under John Dramani Mahama.
Everybody says that our government is doing well. They quote the fact that we have been able to arrest the dollar, which Mr. Somebody took 8 years to try to arrest but failed. We just used 6 months
to arrest that dollar, and it has never escaped up to now. The previous government used 8 years to try to bring inflation down. We used less than 1 year.
Beyond the economic critique, the NDC chairman spoke about moves to increase the district assembly's common fund allocation.
So we are now planning to increase the amount of common fund that we are bringing from 80% to 90%, so that we can continue dealing with the small issues, 6 classroom blocks, toilets and sanitation facilities, and other things, so that the president would have his peace of mind to think about bigger things.
You're still watching News 360 on TV3. Business, sports, and entertainment are all coming up. Do stay with us.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here.
Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has 2 of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally.
Convinced? Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful Pepsodent smiles.
For naturally whiter teeth, Pepsodent Charcoal.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Fred, Bradford, in Louis, Lelembelete. Ah, me just stand here. You're telling
what friend I feel, the making, they didn't believe it, and believe it, and I could all 2 months in a
Teshi London Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Fred, Bradford, in Louis, Lelembelete. Ah, me just stand here. You're telling
what friend I feel, the making, they didn't believe it, and believe it, and I could all 2 months in a
Teshi London Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Me so afraid. Bon let him Bradford in way. Lele mbilete. Ah, me just stand here.
Wa fo na fe e de gbe me din se din bile pe anaku lo lo 2 months ne ba ko lo
Teshi London Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Me so afraid. Bon let him Bradford in way. Lele mbilete. Ah, me just stand here.
Wa fo na fe e de gbe me din se din bile pe anaku lo lo 2 months ne ba ko
Teshi London Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
Touch concentrated perfume.
Welcome back to News 360. Let's do business now. A finance and tax analyst, Nelson Kujo Kwagbaji, is disputing the IMF's latest debt projections for Ghana, arguing that the country is on track to maintain a debt-to-GDP ratio between 50% by the end of 2026. His projection stands in sharp contrast to the IMF's recent forecast of 53%, which Kwagbaji claims lacks a sound basis beyond generic restructuring scenarios.
The analyst pointed to the significant fiscal turnaround achieved over the last year as evidence of the government's prudent debt management.
We ended the year with 726.7 billion Ghana cedis, representing about 61.8% of debt to GDP. At the end of December 2025, our total debt stock was around 641 billion Ghana cedis, representing 45.3% of GDP. In fact, that same year, the IMF also projected that by the end of the year, Ghana's debt to GDP ratio will be around 60%, but we ended up doing about 45.3%. No basis was actually put out there by the IMF for the 53.0% that they indicated.
Kwagbaji noted that the government's 2026 financing strategy reflects a high degree of fiscal discipline. Despite a slight rise in domestic borrowing to support local infrastructure, the government has been very cautious in its market engagements.
As at the end of the first quarter, the government raised about 104 billion Ghana cedis in the treasury bill market. Again, government also raised about 2.7 billion Ghana cedis in the 7-year note that they issued recently. And so, for where we sit, we don't think that the Ghana's debt will reach such a level because the government has shown certain level of prudence as far as their debt management and for that matter, borrowing is concerned. And so we are even projecting that by the end of the year, Ghana's debt may remain below 50% in terms of debt to GDP ratio.
While the IMF remains cautious, Nelson Kwagbaji believes that if current fiscal consolidation and cedi stability hold, Ghana will continue to defy international skepticism, cementing its path toward long-term debt sustainability.
The growing number of Ghanaian content creators are appealing to the Ghana Revenue Authority for urgent guidance and bilateral intervention regarding the heavy tax burdens imposed by foreign digital platforms. As the digital economy booms, local YouTubers, TikTokers and freelance creatives are reporting significant revenue losses, sometimes up to the tune of 30%, due to international withholding taxes applied by platforms based in the US and Europe.
The primary grievance stems from a lack of clarity on how to navigate the tax challenges. Many Ghanaian creators lack the specific tax identification or certifications required by foreign entities to lower these withholding rates. Technical advisor to the Commissioner General of the GRA, Elsie Apau-Klu, acknowledged the charges.
If you have an association or you have a leadership that coordinates your activities, we are very open to have conversations with you to see how we can work together with you and the other interested parties so that we can enhance the doing of business in that space.
While the GRA has recently moved to tax the local digital economy more effectively, officials have signaled a willingness to engage.
There have been a number of deliberations. We will discuss it further, and we are open. We have a lot of channels to engage with you in the digital media space, the e-commerce space. Actually, we're putting something together to see how to engage with you people so that the payment of your taxes is made in a much convenient manner.
For now, the creative community remains in a state of tax limbo, hoping that the government will treat their digital content as a formal export deserving of professional protection.
In more business news this evening, the Ghana Cylinder Manufacturing Company has urged the National Petroleum Authority to ensure the full nationwide rollout of the policy to strengthen safety measures, as 30% of gas cylinders presented for refurbishment under the cylinder recirculation model are not fit for use. Meanwhile, the Energy Committee of Parliament has, however, raised concerns over delays by the Finance Ministry in granting financial clearance to the company to support its operations. The committee says that the situation has left the company financially constrained despite having several pending orders to fulfill.
As certificate authorization or financial clearance, where the Ministry of Finance need to give them authorization to commence or to procure items. That has not come, and it is worrying that they've not received it today. We are in the second quarter, and so the committee will take it up because they have orders. They need to meet those orders. They have commitment, and that commitment has also not been fulfilled. And so we are appealing to the Minister for Finance to release their commitment authorization for them to work, because look, this is a self-income generating institution. You don't need to depend on any finances from anywhere. If we retool them and give them that certificate commitment, they would have bought their materials, they would have gone ahead with the things that they need to do.
That's it for business on News360. Let's find out how the Ghana cedi is faring against the other major trading currencies and also the commodities market.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Me sure Fred, bon let mon bra Fred in way. Lele mbilete. Ah, me just stand here.
What when I fear the making, the game believe in the level, and I could all 2 months in
Teshi Landing Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Me sure afraid. Bon let him Bradford in way. Lele mbilete. Ah, me just stand here.
Wa fo na fe e de gbe me din se din bile pe anaku lo lo 2 months ni ba ko lo.
Teshi Landing Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Me sure afraid. Bon let him Bradford in way. Lele mbilete. Ah, me just stand here.
Wa fo na fe e de gbe me din se din bile pe anaku lo lo 2 months ni ba ko lo.
Teshi Landing Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Me sure afraid. Bon let him Bradford in way. Lele mbilete. Ah, me just stand here.
Wa fo na fe e de gbe me din se din bile pe anaku lo lo 2 months ni ba ko lo.
Teshi Landing Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Reku Ampofo. The future of Ghana football is taking center stage at the Second D Sports Stadium as the 2026 Nestle Milo Under-13 Championship officially began on Wednesday. 16 basic schools, each representing the regions of Ghana, will battle over the next 4 days for ultimate glory. With legends like Asamoah Gyan and Stephen Appiah in attendance, the stage is perfectly set to inspire the next generation of stars as defending champions Adroba RC Basic School look to hold on to their crown.
The Nestle Milo Under-13 championship has come to an end here at the Second Stadium. But that's a 4-day event which began today and then ending on Saturday, where the eventual winner is going to be announced. Gracing the occasion, we saw former Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan, who was here, and then also former Black Stars captain Stephen Appiah was also here. Now, Mr. Myron Otu, head of beverages at Nestle Milo Ghana, expressed a lot of satisfaction.
You can see the excitement on the faces of these kids, right? We have a rep from the whole of the country repping life here in Secondary Esipon, to be precise. So it's an exciting moment. And for me, also pushing the limits and also extending this champion platform to the Western region also makes me more excited, you know. At the end of the day, it's what we live with the kids that matter.
Mr. Michael Ntuaye, who happens to be the Director General at the Ghana Education Service, also mentioned that this particular initiative ought to be continued and then be done annually.
You have seen the performance so far exhibited here. If without this platform, these children wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to be in even Takrady here for them to showcase the talents that they have. We have this special program. It's a unique program for us because it has given us the opportunity to organize at that level for this case to exhibit their talents.
Stephen Appiah also expressed a lot of satisfaction after gracing the occasion.
I'm so happy and it gets excited anytime. This is the 7th edition. Anytime I represent here, I become emotional. I become very, very happy because if nothing at all, the last but one that we did before COVID, I think we all saw what happened. I mean, players like Kevin Nkrumah, who was part of the Black Stars. You have a player like Fatawi Shahaku, who I chose as the best player of the tournament. So I would like to thank Milo for giving our younger brothers the platform to showcase themselves.
And that is what they all had to say. For 3 Sports, Barack Winter Brown, Second D Sports Stadium.
We'll continue to bring you updates from the Second D Sports Stadium as the tournament unravels. Remember that the final of the competition will take place on Saturday. To some more here, where Ghana's Fatawi Isaku and Jordan Ayew were relegated from the championship on Tuesday night to League One, 10 years after the Foxes won the Premier League. The following 3 Sports report details the events of what happened and what the future holds for both players.
Leicester City's relegation comes at a time when Jordan Ayew and Abdul Fatawi Sahaku played key roles in helping Ghana secure qualification to the 2026 World Cup, making their club situations even more significant heading into the tournament. For Jordan Ayew, the drop adds another chapter to a career that has seen its fair share of relegation battles. Ayew has endured relegation 5 times across 4 clubs, including spells with Sochaux, Aston Villa, Swansea City, and back-to-back drops with Leicester. As he approaches the twilight of his career, the forward may now be forced to make a crucial decision about his future. For Abdul Fatawi Sahaku, the outlook may be more optimistic. The 22-year-old made an instant impact after joining Leicester City in 2023, helping the club secure promotion to the Premier League with 6 goals in 40 games. But his momentum was disrupted in the top flight due to injuries, limiting him to just 11 appearances. Back in the championship, Fatawi rediscovered his rhythm, scoring 9 goals and providing 7 assists in 43 matches, underlining his importance to the team despite their struggles. With age on his side and flashes of top-level quality, the winger is likely to attract interest from clubs seeking attacking depth and potential. As Leicester City prepare for life in League One, the future of both players remain uncertain.
Now, before we go, Chelsea have sacked Liam Rosino just 100 in 7 days in his tenure after a poor run of form, including 5 straight league defeats without scoring. The former Strasbourg manager replaced Enzo Maresca in January, but has struggled to settle, leaving the club 7th in the Premier League and facing a very slim chance of qualifying to the UEFA Champions League. Or you can get some more updates on our social media handles at TV Sports GH. My name is Oreku Ampofo.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Me so afraid. Bon let him Bradford in way. Lele mbilete. Ah, me just stand here.
Wa fo na fe e de gbe me din se din bile pe anaku lo lo 2 months ni ba ko lo
Teshi London Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Me so afraid. Bon let him Bradford in way. Lele mbilete. Ah, me just stand here.
Wa fo na fe e de gbe me din se din bile pe anaku lo lo 2 months ni ba ko lo
Teshi London Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3 and all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
It was meant to protect them. Now every journey begins with doubt.
Me so afraid. Bon let him Bradford in way. Lele mbilete. Ah, me just stand here.
Wa fo na fe e de gbe me din se din bile pe anaku lo lo 2 months ni ba ko lo
Teshi London Bay airs on Wednesday, April 22 on TV3.
name is Noella Donko. Now, the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Ablaji Fagomashi, has reaffirmed government's urgency to deliver the Accra Marine Drive Tourism Investment Project, describing the inauguration of a technical committee as a key step toward making the project a reality. Now, speaking at the ceremony, she stressed that Ghana can no longer afford delays on such an important national project, which aims to transform Accra's waterfront into a modern tourism and commercial hub. This is a legacy project that will reshape our coastline and strengthen Ghana's position on the global tourism map, she said. Now, we must act with speed while ensuring efficiency, collaboration, and accountability. And also some more stories. Afrobeat star Kelvin Boy has opened up about his admiration for rising act Kojo Black, describing him as one of the most gifted creatives he has worked with. Now, speaking on the 3FM Drive with host Trigmatic, Kelvin Boy highlighted Kojo Black's originality and musical intelligence. According to him, the younger artist's ability to fuse the Ga language with unique pronunciation and rhythmic delivery sets him apart in the industry. With the style that he has and how he comes up with the rhymes and how he fuses the Ga language, the pronunciation and everything is awesome, he said.
And he's a very good writer.
Okay, I agree.
You heard he wrote some parts of Lomo Lomo and all of that.
Well, that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
Thank you so much, Noella. On the international front, Iran's top negotiator says it is not possible to reopen the Strait of Hormuz due to blatant violations of the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. Mohammed Ghalibaf said those violations include the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports and war-mongering by Israel on all fronts. Earlier, Iran seized 2 cargo ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Donald Trump extended the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. While extending the ceasefire, President Trump also said the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports would continue.
And that's it for News 360. It was live from our studio here at Adisawe Kanda in Accra. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu Date.
And I am Portia Gabo. Good evening.